Welcome to another episode, Chia Sports Talk. And I do apologize for the delay in the videos here once again. Had some technical issues. I've tried to pre-record this video last week, and I had some video problems and audio issues, so kind of pushed off on it and whatnot. And then of course it was being spring break for my son, so a little party there. So we go back to this aspect of what's next for the Mac. And also, you can also probably go, what's next for Conference USA? Now, for Conference USA, I've already done a video after they added Kennesaw State, what's their next move. And I dropped a list of about 10 programs I'm going to go after. And Delaware was on that list at number 4. So I suggest you go back there. I'll probably put it up here above me right here for that video for you to go take a look at and look at that aspect of who I thought was going to be and dive in that situation for Conference USA, because there's not going to be any true differences now than it was then, except for maybe adding Western Carolina, which I think it wasn't on that list initially. That kind of gets them back in the North Carolina market. But that's basically about it. So go to the Mac. We know my last video kind of did like a relook at a conference scenario, and I'm putting UMass there in the Mac as a football-only entity. As I was, finalizing that video for YouTube, UMass decided to go all in and join the Mac. Now, there's some UMass alumni that think UMass basketball going to the MAC is going to hurt their program. Time will tell what happens and what comes up with the rest of the MAC as a whole. Well, they are also now at an even number, so what's their next step? There's a couple options I think they can go off right away to get to 14. And each one does require a few additions, shall we say. I think the number one easiest way to get to 14 is add UConn. UConn gives them another Eastern team, gives a rivalry with UMass. Another one for Buffalo in their time zone. Makes perfect sense. Plus, it's another cast off of the old Big East. Remember, Temple was in the MAC temporarily to rebuild themselves. I mean, this is what UConn needs to rebuild their program. And only be there for football, so that way they keep their basketball with the Big East, where I think they really want to be at. Then it kind of goes in, okay, then who do you add as your non-football member? And there's a variety of locations you go with. I was thinking Chicago State, but they now have a home in the Northeast Conference. And they leave Northeast. Northeast is even lower because they're losing members to the Metro Atlantic. So there's a whole mess there. You could probably go in the Horizon League. There might not be many want to leave there, or the Summit League. A couple things I kind of looked at was at the Horizon and the American East. Excuse me, let me get more specific. And get someone that's close to Buffalo, or at least moves the MAC in a different direction. And the two programs that you go either or getting added is Binghamton and Northern Kentucky. Binghamton I mentioned before. There's just another New York program that gives Buffalo an in-state rival. Binghamton has had some success in basketball. I don't know they want any inclination of joining a different conference, but I thought it'd be a unique aspect to see if they can switch over to the MAC and kind of give MAC more of an Eastern flair. The other one's in Northern Kentucky. Northern Kentucky will give them that Southern flair I think they're really starting to teeter with. And with Northern Kentucky being the Horizon League, they're right there. They get that southern, northern part of the state. Bluegrass State could battle with Ohio, Miami, and Ball State. They're all southern parts of Ohio and Indiana, respectively. It can kind of help ease out the MAC footprint just a little bit, much like what the SEC is doing with theirs, just slowly adding another state to kind of increase their footprint. That's what the MAC's doing as well. That's one version to get to 14. Another version is going with one they've whispered before, thought about, is going ahead and ask and get Eastern Kentucky to make the move up from FCS to FBS into the MAC. Once again, give them that southern exposure like they once had with Marshall and Central Florida. And I think something the MAC wants to do is to kind of increase their footprint. And once again, going south in Kentucky makes sense. It's still within their realm of influence, stretches their footprint a bit, like one state at a time. And I can see that one actually working as well. They get Eastern Kentucky, then could reignite their rivalry with Western Kentucky on an annual basis. That'd be FBS games, so both schools would be happy with that one. I mean, those, I think there's two options the MAC could go to make it up to 14. I think the UConn route is a quick answer to get them there. I think Eastern Kentucky, I think, is more, I think it's more viable for them. I don't want to say viable. I think UConn's more viable because they're an independent program. They have nothing to do. They have nothing to lose. During the conference, resurrect the program. I mean, but would the MAC stop at 14? That's the big question. Could they continue to move forward and go into 16 or more? Why not? The Big Ten's done it. SEC's at 16. ACC's going up there. You know, there's talk about them imploding, and then the Big 12 swooping in and snagging most of their programs. I mean, it's going to the possibilities where you're going to see these megalithic conferences. I don't know if it's a long-standing ability for them to do that, but say they move past the 14 mark, go to 16, and I think the first priority would be North Dakota State, South Dakota State. Bring in those two heavy hitters from the FCS and bring them to the MAC, and I think it should be top priority. I know they're a little bit out, and they're on the fringes of the MAC realm, but adding those two powerhouses would immensely increase their status in the group of five. Because I think right now everyone kind of looks at the MAC as a low-tier MAC Power 5 or Group of 5 conference. Excuse me. Adding North Dakota State, South Dakota State would definitely put MAC back on the map. They can also go play it safe. Going to Illinois once again. I've said this before in a couple other videos earlier in this channel. Illinois State, Southern Illinois. You know, kind of do what Michigan, what they have in Michigan. They have the Michigan MAC Trophy. You could do the Illinois MAC Trophy with Northern Illinois, Southern Illinois, and Illinois State. Could actually work that aspect. Youngstown State's another interesting look, but I doubt they go that direction because that's just way too many programs in the state of Ohio in one conference. Albany's another interesting one. It gives them another one in the East, especially another one in-state for Buffalo, especially if they don't add a non-football school in there. But the problem with Albany, stadium size, that's on the small side, so they have to do a massive upgrade to their stadium to at least add 10,000 seats to get them to about 18,000 capacity. Could they do it? Sure. I'm not sure if the Danes are looking, looking to make the move up, but I think it's an interesting look. Going into Virginia, I don't know if they grab any other program for Conference USA. I doubt that. Conference USA, I thought, was on conference on the decline. Of course, I thought that about the Big 12. I thought about the Conference USA. Each one's proven to be resilient. So, looking at that, I don't see them going over like Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee, which I thought they possibly could have. Liberty, Delaware, another two interesting ones they could possibly go with as well. But I doubt they go that direction. I think Conference USA is going to find themselves sustaining themselves, adding a few programs here and there to kind of help stretch out their footprint to get that, Mid-Atlantic to Southwest type of realm of their footprint. Maybe just stress into the Dakotas if North Dakota State, South Dakota State don't join the MAC. They might join Conference USA. Because remember that one. So to kind of recap, there's a few options the MAC I think can go to make this work. One is adding another football program, and I think UConn is the easier option, but it means you have to add a non-football school as well, and that could provide a little more difficulty to try to find one to make the move over, like Binghamton or Northern Kentucky. Southern Indiana is another interesting one they could possibly go after. But they just went to the Ohio Valley, so I doubt they make another switch or going into Pennsylvania and trying to grab one. But, there's a few options here and there. I just put Binghamton and Northern Kentucky. I think those are the top two that kind of puts them in the wheelhouse they're looking for. I think the option they might look for first is Eastern Kentucky. Go that direction, and I think that would once again get them in the South, which I think they want to go with. And I think once you get to 14, then what's the next step? I think they will go to 16, and I think it either will be the Dakotas or the Illinois. I think it'll be one of those two to get them 16, and I think they'll stop there. I don't think they'll go past that. They'll have a stretch from right now New England to Illinois, maybe to go New England to the Dakotas. And then they'll just keep it right there and just call it a day. But you never know with conference realignments. There are strange, unique, ever-changing, and never do what you think they're going to do. I mean, who would have thought the Big Ten would go from Jersey to the Pacific Coast? Or the ACC going from Boston to Miami Beach to the Ohio River Valley. SEC going to Oklahoma and to Missouri. I mean, it's the Atlantic 10 having programs in St. Louis and Chicago. I mean, conferences are kind of losing their almost identity, but changing their identity of being a local to a national brand and raking in the money that way. But once again, that's another topic for a different day, and I can spend an hour just ranting and raving about that. But, that's my take of what I think what happened with the MAC next. Like I said, they'll try to go for that 14th member. The easiest route's UConn. They'll probably go Eastern Kentucky. And then to go 16, I think it's the Dakotas or Illinois route. But hey, just let me know what you think. Where you think the MAC's going to go? Do you think they're going to go extreme and go somewhere completely different? Maybe grab Central Arkansas, Stephen F. Austin. I mean, that'd be a stretch. But, like I said, crazier things have happened. Just look at the Big Ten. Look at all the conferences now. Things can be wild. I also got another realignment scenario that I am working on right now, and kind of goes off with another individual who came up with an idea. It's kind of like reverting back to one of my other ideas I've had. It's kind of like how all my stuff kind of intertwines and intermingles, and I just revisit it. It's got some attention, and I'm like way late in the game. But once again, it's at the same time frame. I've had some difficulties with getting everything working properly and balancing work and home life. But just let me know down in the comments below. Be kind to each other. Comments actually help boost all the algorithm and get this out to the ether and let everyone kind of enjoy ranting and raving of a crazy old man to see how things could possibly play out. Once you're down there, you can hit that thumbs up. Greatly appreciate it. You also subscribe. Now you're subscribed. Does cost you a dime. Helps me provide more entertainment for you. Only thing to do is click that subscribe button, click that bell icon, turn on notifications until next time I post any more content on my channel. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.